young nurse, worked in a busy hospital. Her days were often long, and many times she felt overwhelmed as they were always filled with urgent tasks, medical alarms, and countless patient needs. One evening, an elderly patient named Mrs. Delaney arrived in the ER. She wasn't in critical condition, but she was frightened and alone. Clara, even though she was behind on her work, took a few extra minutes to sit by her bedside and simply talk with her. She held her hand, asked her about her life, and listened. Later that night, the attending physician told Clara that Mrs. Delaney, who had been widowed for many years, had long prayed for someone to simply sit with her in her last years, just to listen. Clara had unknowingly answered that prayer, not by doing more, but by being present. My brothers and sisters, today's readings draw us into the sacred mystery of hospitality. Not just the kind that welcomes people into our homes, but the kind that welcomes God into our hearts. In our first reading from Genesis, Abraham is resting by the oaks of Mamre when three mysterious visitors appear. And rather than dismissing them or asking what they want, Abraham runs to greet them. He prepares a lavish meal and serves them attentively. He doesn't realize it at first, but in showing hospitality to strangers, he is welcoming the Lord himself. And what does he receive in return? A blessing beyond his imagining, a promise of a son. This story teaches us something profound. When we open our lives generously, God shows up, and often he comes in disguise to the stranger, the poor, or the unexpected guest. In the Gospel of Luke, we meet two sisters, Martha and Mary, who receive Jesus into their home. Both love him, both serve him, but Martha, as the Gospel tells us, is burdened with much serving, which, translated, means that she's frantically running around the house, doing everything herself to make sure that everything is in order to serve the Lord. Does that sound familiar? Been there, done that. Things have to be perfect for a special guest who is coming over. And what does Jesus tell Martha when he watches her doing this? He tells her that she is anxious and worried about many things and is missing on the one thing that truly matters. And when Martha complains to Jesus about her sister Mary not doing her part, Jesus tells Martha, Mary has chosen the better part. You see, Martha was missing out on the opportunity to just sit at the feet of Jesus, to be still and just listen. Now let's be clear. Jesus doesn't scold Martha for her service. He just wants her to pause and take a moment in the Lord's presence. The church needs its Marthas, those who work, who serve, who care for others. But Jesus is reminding Martha and us that our service must be rooted in relationship to him. Action is good, but presence is better. And when we act without prayer, without listening, we risk becoming frantic and even frazzled rather than faithful. Clara, the nurse from the story, reminds us of Mary, who in the midst of being busy, she paused for just a few precious moments. Clara gave someone the gift of listening, and in doing so, she welcomed Christ. St. Paul, in the letter to the Colossians, shows us the fruit of this deep listening. He speaks of a mystery hidden for ages, Christ in you, the hope of glory. This is the treasure we receive when we make time for Christ, not just peace, but the very presence of God dwelling within us. So, what kind of hospitality are we offering God? Are we rushing around to get everything perfect? Are we anxious and frantic like Martha? Or are we willing to pause what we are doing and sit like Mary and truly listen? My friends, there is a time for doing and a time for being. And Jesus reminds us today that the better part isn't found in noise or frenzy, but in quiet and attentive love. Now you're probably thinking, yeah, right. Where am I going to find a quiet place to sit with Jesus without all the distractions? A suggestion? Adoration. The quietness of the church during adoration allows you to choose the better part in spending time with the Lord. St. Teresa of Calcutta once said, "When you look at the crucifix, you understand how much Jesus loved you then. When you look at the sacred host, you understand how much Jesus loves you now." The time you spend with Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament is the best time that you spend on earth. My brothers and sisters, as we leave here today, let us be mindful to open our homes like Abraham. Let us serve with Martha's hands, but listen with Mary's heart. And like Clara, may we recognize that sometimes the holiest thing that we can do is to stop, take a moment, be present, and welcome Christ in the least expected places.